Right now, the easiest way to summarize what's happening with the Chiefs is this. They don't really have a single obvious weakness you can game plan around. When you watch the tape, everything you expect to exploit, man coverage mismatches, zone soft spots, a lack of intermediate threat, has been fixed or masked by personnel and scheme. With Rashee Rice back, Worthy stepping up, KELCE doing what KELCE does, and Mahomes in a rhythm where he's both faster with his feet and calmer with his reads, opponents face an almost impossible chess problem. If you try to play man to take away one guy, another guy is built to beat your logic. If you play zone, Mahomes and his receivers are finding the small, quiet windows that create huge plays. That right there is the very reason the NFL, frankly, isn't ready for what the Chiefs are about to do. Let me break that down in film terms so you get exactly why this is a different beast. First, balance. The Chiefs have weapons that win in different parts of the field. Rice is a middle intermediate threat who sits in zones and creates separation at the second level. Worthy stretches the field with speed and learned route nuance. Brown and KELCE give you mismatch problems over the line. That means when you think you've got a plan, we'll put our best corner on Rice and bracket him. Suddenly, the next best guy is matched up against your second corner and the whole defensive alignment becomes unstable. That's not hyperbole. It's a real schematic. Stress test teams are failing right now. Then there's Mahomes. The tape shows him creating opportunities that box score distance metrics don't capture. A throw that looks easy on paper often isn't. Mahomes will sell a look, manipulate a safety with his eyes, step up and throw off platform into a precise window that only someone with his vision and arm can make. He does the little subtle things, faking a scramble, stepping up in the pocket, trusting his guy to sit in the seam, and suddenly a 5-yard separation on the stat sheet represents an orchestrated collapse of the whole coverage. Opponents aren't just defending a receiver, they're defending Mahomes' ability to manufacture space where none seemingly exists. You also have an offensive line and play-calling combo that resurrects parts of the old Chiefs attack, protection that stabilized the deep intermediate elements, and an Andy Reid playbook that's willing to mix back in screens and draws at the right moments. The screen game, when blocked well and timed off the threat of deep shots, becomes an easy button to keep pass rushers honest. That's crucial because it protects the run game's reputation even when the running back room isn't an explosive strength. Speaking of the backfield, yes, there's still a legitimate conversation to be had about a dynamic 3-down back. Pacheco's best under center, Hunt, is elite short yardage, and Bashard Smith has flashed as a mismatch. But the offense doesn't collapse without a star runner because the passing game covers and enhances those rushing looks. All of this together produces a troubling reality for opponents. Even when you identify a weak spot, it's rarely wide enough to lean on consistently. The defense has to defend everything, every blade of grass, because Mahomes will punish the one place you leave soft. That's why when pundits say the NFL isn't ready, they mean teams don't currently have a sustainable counter that's been proven consistent to stop what Kansas City does now. So as a fan, you should be excited but also watchful. This is the kind of dominance that forces other teams into roster decisions at the trade deadline and forces coaches to change plans on the fly. Quick engagement. Tell me in the comments right now, do you believe any defense in the league can consistently stop this Chiefs offense? Vote in the comments yes or no, and if you say yes, name the team. Also, if you want more breakdowns like this, hit like and subscribe. Help us get to 6,000 subscribers so we can bring you even deeper film work and daily reaction. Up next, I'll dig into Patrick Mahomes specifically, why the numbers don't always tell the true story, and how his unique plays are the multiplier that makes this offense dangerous. Even the seemingly unstoppable Chiefs have cracks, and savvy opponents are looking for them. But here's the key. These weaknesses are much smaller and situational than most fans or analysts realize. While some headlines scream Mahomes exposed or Chiefs defense collapsing, the reality on tape is subtler. Understanding these areas helps explain why the Chiefs dominate most games, while still facing close calls against smart, well-prepared teams. Let's start with the offensive line. The Chiefs' O-line is solid but not elite in pass protection compared to league powerhouses. On some third and long situations, the interior can get pushed, forcing Mahomes to operate under heavier pressure. However, unlike many quarterbacks, Mahomes can compensate with movement, timing adjustments, and pre-snap reads. Yes, a blitz-heavy defense might sack him or force a hurried throw, but that's a rare outcome. More often, Mahomes turns the potential weakness into a playmaking opportunity as defenders overcommit or get out of position. Next, the defense. Many analysts point to the Chiefs' secondary, especially the cornerback depth, as a liability. Injuries or mismatches against elite WRs can create openings. Yet the Chiefs have mitigated this with zone schemes, clever safety rotations, and pressure packages. They might give up some intermediate completions, but they rarely allow explosive, game-changing plays. Even when a big play occurs, the defense often rebounds immediately with a 3-and-out or forced turnover. In short, the weaknesses exist, but the Chiefs' system turns potential liabilities into controlled risk. Another area to watch is running game consistency. Isaiah Pacheco is a rising star, but the Chiefs sometimes struggle to maintain a dominant rushing attack against stacked boxes or elite defensive fronts. That said, the offensive design accounts for this. Mahomes' passing threat prevents defenses from fully committing to stopping the run. What seems like a vulnerability in the run game often becomes a strategic advantage, keeping defenses honest and opening passing lanes. The last situational concern is late-game pressure and clock management. In tight contests, even a high-powered team like Kansas City can face mistakes, penalties, miscommunications, or rare turnovers. While these moments have occurred, the Chiefs' leadership, coaching, and depth usually stabilize the situation. Patrick Mahomes' poise under pressure is a huge factor. He thrives when others might panic. Engagement moment. Which do you think is the Chiefs' biggest situational weakness? Offensive line pressure, secondary depth, run game inconsistency, or late game pressure? Comment your pick below and explain why. Also, quick poll. Do you think any team in the league can consistently exploit these small cracks this season? Yes or no? Here's the takeaway. The Chiefs' vulnerabilities are minor and manageable, not catastrophic. The combination of Mahomes' playmaking, strategic scheming, and player depth transforms potential weaknesses into opportunities or at least neutralizes them. Opponents may have a momentary edge in specific matchups, but over a full game, the Chiefs' strengths overwhelmingly dominate. In Chapter 4, we'll shift focus to the trade deadline and mid-season adjustments. How can Kansas City improve further? Are there strategic moves that could address even these small weaknesses? We'll break down potential trades, positional upgrades, and how the front office may ensure the Chiefs remain the league's top contender. Every top NFL team constantly evaluates its roster, and the Chiefs are no exception. With Patrick Mahomes leading a high-powered offense and a defense that's disciplined and opportunistic, the front office still looks for key upgrades to ensure a Super Bowl run. Mid-season moves and trade deadline acquisitions can make a difference, especially when the margin for error in the playoffs is razor-thin. First, let's focus on the offensive side of the ball. While Mahomes can make magic out of almost any situation, the Chiefs sometimes need additional weapons to keep defenses honest. Adding a versatile wide receiver or a dynamic tight end can help diversify routes and spread coverage. Even a veteran slot WR or pass-catching TE could relieve pressure on CeeDee Lamb and Travis KELCE, allowing Mahomes to exploit matchups in high-leverage situations. Historically, the Chiefs have thrived with mid-season additions, and another piece could be the difference in a tight playoff game. Next, the running game. Pacheco is effective, but the Chiefs may explore options to create depth or add a short yardage specialist. Running back injuries happen, and teams that anticipate this by keeping a fresh, explosive back on the roster often gain an edge. Adding a rotational runner could also reduce wear and tear on Pacheco, keeping him fresh for the postseason grind. On the defensive front, depth is king. The Chiefs' secondary has performed admirably, but injuries or inconsistencies can expose weaknesses against elite passing attacks. Adding a cornerback with versatility or a pass rush specialist could give the defensive coordinator new options, both in rotations and in-game scheming. Even one well-timed addition could help limit big plays and enhance the overall team resilience. Special teams often get overlooked, but in playoff scenarios, a game can hinge on field position, returns, or a key kick. The Chiefs may explore options to upgrade their punting, kicking, or return game, giving Mahomes and the offense better starting positions and controlling momentum. These small, precise improvements often go unnoticed until they directly impact a game-winning drive. Engagement moment. If you could pick one mid-season addition for the Chiefs this year, what would it be? A WR, RB, CB, or special teams player? Drop your answer in the comments and tell us why. Also, quick poll. Should the Chiefs trade for a proven veteran or stick with internal development for the rest of the season? Vote now. The big picture. Kansas City is not just reacting, they're planning ahead. The front office carefully evaluates potential acquisitions based on fit, chemistry, and impact on championship goals. Mid-season trades aren't just about filling gaps. They're about strategically positioning the team to maximize playoff potential while maintaining long-term depth. It's about smart upgrades, not flashy moves. In Chapter 5, we'll conclude by examining the Chiefs' championship outlook. We'll analyze the remaining schedule, potential playoff matchups, and what it will take for Mahomes and company to navigate the final stretch of the season. From team, health to tactical adjustments, we'll break down why Kansas City remains the team to beat and what fans should watch for in the coming weeks. You've seen how the offense operates, how Mahomes creates, and where the small cracks are. Now let's put it all together and map out what the rest of the season probably looks like and what you, as a fan, should be watching for. The simplest way to think about it is this. If the Chiefs stay healthy enough and the front office makes at least one smart, complementary move at the deadline, they remain the team to beat. If not, they're still elite. But a single bad day in the postseason can derail everything. Over the next stretch, watch 3 concrete things. How the coaching staff manages snaps for Chris Jones so he's fresh when it matters, how the running back rotation evolves because keeping Pacheco effective and fresh matters for late-game control, and whether Andy Reid keeps dialing up the screen game and intermediate looks that exploit mismatches created by Rice and Worthy. Schedule-wise, the Chiefs have winnable but tricky tests ahead. They can't sleepwalk through any of them. That means you want to see consistent execution, fewer self-inflicted mistakes, and the offense refusing to fiddle when a game is already in hand. Finish the job like professionals. On the trade deadline front, the most impactful, realistic move is one that addresses the D-line depth or adds a versatile cornerback who can play multiple spots. Don't expect a blockbuster that completely reshapes the roster, but do expect targeted upgrades that buy playoff insurance. If the front office opts for an edge rusher, it should be someone who can create splash plays and rotate without killing Chris Jones's snap count. If they go interior, prioritize a run-stuffing disruptor who lets you rest Jones more often. For you watching at home, the mid-season acquisitions will tell you a lot about the organization's mindset. Are they all in for this year's window, or are they hedging for the future? Either choice is defensible, but the moves should be coherent with the immediate goal, getting home field and keeping the roster fresh. Now let's talk playoff scenarios. Mahomes and this offense force opponents to alter game plans in ways that are difficult to sustain across a best-of-one format, which is why the Chiefs usually enter the postseason with the kind of schematics advantage that win-or-go-home football punishes. That said, playoff defenses that can create consistent four-man pressure without sacrificing coverage flexibility represent the single biggest threat. So if you're making a bracket in your head, pay attention to teams with elite, disciplined pass rushers and secondary schemes that disguise coverages. Those matchups will expose the Chiefs' situational edges if the offense has an off day. Engagement moment. In the comments, tell me honestly, do you want the Chiefs to trade for a veteran D lineman now or trust internal pieces and save assets for the future? Drop trade or trust and explain your pick in one short sentence.